welcome back to the channel. My name is Carrie with Blues City Pickin, and if you are new here, I am a part-time reseller that goes around to yard sales, thrift stores, estate sales, and looks for things to flip for a profit on eBay. This is Ching number 25. This is for the week of February the 16th. Spoiler alert, it was another kind of meh week. This week has definitely been better. So I'm recording this on Thursday, February 27th, and my sales or my profits for this week are already above the entire week last week. So I'm hopeful that this week will turn out just a little bit better. But let's see, my gross sales for the week were only $475. My cost of goods was super good at $70.65. And so after taxes, fees, shipping, I made $17.88. I had one thing where I only made $4.41, which is fine. And then I had something that I made $25.87. Like that was the highest profit item of the week, which is pretty low for me. Usually I have one thing that's a little bit more profitable. And then my average for the week was $11.47 per item. I did have 18 different unique orders, or no, 18 orders. I had one multi-quantity order. Minimum in the store, I had something that sold within 5 days, and then I had something that took almost a full year to sell at 341 days, and then my average was 103, so a little bit more than 100% sell-through. So without further ado, we will go ahead and get into this. This first thing that sold was the one that had been in the store the longest. This was a Swim by Cacique women's swim cover-up. The buyer paid $14.24. And when I say what the buyer paid, that's just kind of the base price, excluding shipping and taxes. I feel like that is the most appropriate comparison for me because I do not do free shipping. That kind of gives you a better baseline of how I ended up with the profit that I did. This was from a home clean out. So my profit was $12.63. Like I said, it had been listed for 341 days. Probably because we're just now starting to get into swim season again. So I was happy to see that go. And this won't be the last, I think it might be the last swim for this week. We'll see. Next up is a set of 1970s Britain's animal figures lot. This came out of a Whatnot bulk buy, so I have $1 into it. The buyer paid $7.99, and so I made $5.99 in profit after 73 days. Next is a pair of Vionic slip-ons. This was a light blue color, size 10. Buyer paid $20. I paid $10.19 at Goodwill, and so I made $6.77 after 31 days. Last week, I was definitely accepting lower offers than I normally would. Normally, I probably would not have accepted anything below like 25 on this just to try to keep it worth my while, but I wanted to keep the store active and moving. So once again, I was accepting some lower offers. Next up is a pair of Ultra women's sneakers. The buyer paid $35.96. I had paid $11.60 for these at Goodwill. And so I still made $17.46 after 42 days. Next item is this set of Pixar cars. I picked these up at an antique mall in a really big bag back in December. So I had $3 into this particular lot. The buyer paid $20, and so I made $12.57 after just 30 days listed. Next item is 2 pairs of Cat and Jack quick dry shorts. I picked these up in a ThredUp kids mystery box. These were one of the things that I thought I could sell on my own. And so I have $1 cost of goods into this. They sold for $7, and so I made $4.41 after just 28 days listed. Next item is this vintage Chinese, it's an Amari style plate with scalloped edges. It was very cute. I paid $4.30 for this at Goodwill back in December. The buyer paid $30, and so I was able to make $20.03 after 43 days. Next up is a vintage, and it's more of a rare plush that I picked up at an estate sale back in December. It was Richard Scarry, and this is Lowly the Worm. I paid $1.30 for this, and he sold for $29. And so I made $22.38 after 61 days. You gotta be on the lookout for those unique, weird looking character plush. I have had some pretty decent luck with some Richard Scarry plush and some Wallace and Gromit plush that was old vintage that I dug out of a bucket at an estate sale. So definitely put those on your BOLO list. Next up is this Coach logo tote purse. I have had this forever. And so I sent out an offer of $39. I had $6.43 into it. It was accepted. And so I made $25.87 after 274 days. Once again, trying to get the things out of the house. Next up is some new old stock Atari joystick controller parts. This came out of that Whatnot lot that I bought back in December. If you have not seen when I talked about that, this has been the gift that keeps on giving. They sold for $8 and a penny each. I had 80 cents into them, and so I made $12.60 after 70 days. Next item is a pair of men's Seattle Seahawks sneakers. I paid $9.99 for these at Goodwill back in July. I thought they would sell during football season. That's why I picked them up. They, in fact, did not. Got an offer for $30. I went ahead and accepted it to get it out of the closet. And so I made $14.94 after 212 days. Next up is this Herschel tote. I picked this up for $5.48 at one of our local thrift stores just a couple weeks ago. It sold quickly for $20, and so I made $9.50 after just 5 days. Next is another Atari part. This was one of the boards, like the computer boards. The buyer paid $17.01. These are untested, as is. I do not offer free returns on these Atari computer parts or Atari like boards. I'm not a technical person. And so I have $1 into this, so I made $12.54 after 70 days. Next item is a 100% silk Ralph Lauren skirt. I paid $5.99 for this at Goodwill back in November. Somebody offered me $22, and so I took that, and I made $14.06 after 99 days. Another Atari part. This one I had 50 cents into. This was a cassette door assembly. I had 2 of them. Unfortunately, when I was pulling this one, I dropped one of them and it shattered. So yeah. The buyer paid $11.12, and so I made $8.29 after 71 days. Next up was a repeat buyer, so thank you very much for purchasing from me again. This is a set of Ann Taylor size 14 linen shorts. They were new without tag. You could tell that they had never been worn. There was remnants of like the string and stuff where the tag had been, so I felt comfortable listing them that way. I paid $3 for these at Goodwill last May. I thought they would have sold. They did not. So when I got an offer for I sent out an offer for $14.92, the buyer accepted, and so I made $7.82 after 290 days. Last couple of sales for the week. This is a Douglas stuffed animal. This was a black lab puppy. I paid $2.07 for this at a local thrift store back in December, right after Christmas. It sold for $10. Somebody sent me an offer. And so I made $5.23 after 48 days. And last for the week, another mediocre sale. This was a vintage trinket box and ashtray included. I paid $3 for this in an estate sale back in November. I don't know if this was actually worth like what it would have been allocated. I bought a whole bunch of stuff, and so I just put $3 cost of goods across everything. And I've made my money back and then some on that entire buy with just one item that I sold a couple months ago. So I'm fine with saying this is what this is. So it sold for $11, $3 into it. And so I made $4.77 after 102 days. So a mediocre week. I'm fine with it. This is the slower time of the year. February sales have been lower, hoping that, you know, as we ramp up into March and April, they will pick back up again. As far as my store allocation, definitely still more heavy towards Goodwill because that is where I've been sourcing mostly lately because that is what is quick available when I have time. So that was 37%. Whatnot was at 18% this week for my profit, mainly because of the Atari parts. 24% from estate sales, and then about 20% from everything else. Allocation, clothing still coming in well. So that was 50% of my profit this week came from clothing, shoes, and accessories. I had about 21% from toys, 15% from collectibles, and about 11% for household items. So my household items were definitely lower this week. All in all, okay. Blue City Pickin will continue to pick and look for new opportunities and things to find to list for a profit on eBay. If you don't mind, I would really appreciate a like and a subscribe if you enjoy this kind of content. I am on my way to 500 subscribers and I'm trying to hit that goal at my 6-month mark. So if you don't mind, I would very much appreciate it, and we will see you in the next one. Thanks so much. Bye.